Nikola Jokic, known as the Joker. This enigmatic talent has etched his name among the all-time greats, but what truly sets him apart are his extraordinary offensive abilities. His court vision and passing skills are unparalleled, even for a guard, let alone a center. Beyond his remarkable talent, Jokic's charismatic personality makes him a favorite among fans. Now let's uncover what NBA legends and players truly think of this phenomenal player. Let's start with Hakeem, the Dream, who is a retired NBA player who is widely regarded as one of the greatest players in NBA history. Hakeem had a chance to watch Joker play and he really enjoyed it. He doesn't look strong, but I see he gets such deep post position. I think maybe it's the mismatch, but then he does the same thing against bigger guys. His shot, his fakes, they're very difficult to time. You don't know when he's faking and when it's real. He has tricks. He is the one. During his time in the NBA, Hakeem wasn't known for his physicality, yet his skilled footwork and soft touch around the rim. An all-around big man, it is to no surprise that the former NBA MVP is a fan of the Joker's game. Steve Nash is a two-time NBA Most Valuable Player award winner. Nash, who was also the Brooklyn Nets head coach at the time, shared his thoughts on the NBA MVP in the 2021 and 2022 race. Clearly, Nikola is the MVP. He's kind of gone wire to wire at this high level. He makes his teammates better and everything go. They lose Jamal Murray, and they haven't really skipped a beat. That shows how good he is. He's such a willing and contagious passer. He can make the assist, but he can also make the right read. It becomes the hockey assist where the ball moves to one or two guys down the line, and they get open shots. He facilitates that style of play and that willingness to pass. He's able to knock down that first domino. Nash's MVPs were a hot topic in the NBA world in the 2000s, similar to how some fans and analysts perceive Nikola's awards. But there is nothing you can take away from both players' talents, as they are regarded as one of the best to ever do it in their respective positions. Steve Kerr, a former player and current coach for the Golden State Warriors, also has high praise for the Joker. Steve Kerr is a huge fan of Nikola's game, and one that has witnessed him dominate firsthand. Kerr kept it short and said, "He's everybody's kryptonite. He's a two-time MVP for a reason. The guy is a phenomenal player, and he just makes the game so much easier on his teammates." They've done a really good job in Denver the past few years, building their roster, building their identity, but yeah, Jokic is Jokic. I don't know if any other team gives him a hard time. Gilbert Arenas was a baller. Agent Zero loves to talk about current NBA players, and he is not the type of old head to hate on the modern way of playing the game of basketball. Giving credit only where it's due, Agent Zero thinks that the Joker is one of the best NBA draft picks of all time, which should sound obvious, but Gilbert Arenas takes this to a whole new level, and even he knows that it's a hot take. This is really, really a hot take. Joker is the best draft pick since Michael Jordan, 1984. LeBron is a number one pick. So the number one pick is supposed to play like the number one pick. Jordan was the number 3 pick, which actually helps his boost of what he did. Joker was a second round pick. So for a second round pick to actually play like a number 1 pick, that makes him the second best draft pick by his numbers. 2-time MVP, about to be a 3-time MVP, 4-time All-NBA player. Those numbers will actually beat second for his projections. Tony is a former Croatian professional basketball player who won 3 NBA championships with the Chicago Bulls. Tony is a product of the Yugoslavian basketball system. Just like Nikola, Tony was a guard in a big man's body, a capable ball handler, passer, and isolation scorer, who was more than ready to give you buckets both from inside and outside the paint. In Europe, he was the leader of the Jugoplastica squad that won basically every team award they possibly could. In the NBA, Tony was given a more passive role during his most significant time with the Bulls, but he was still a vital part of their success. Jokic is given the chance to be the leader of a team. He doesn't take it as a job. He enjoys competing at the highest level. That's the beauty of the game. All the stuff that nobody sees, it's translated on the court. He has a lot of influence on the court. His vision of seeing what's happening before anybody else does makes him a great basketball player. Unfortunately, Jalen Rose's most notable career achievement is being known as the guy who Kobe dropped his 81 points against. Jokes aside, Jalen Rose was a solid player back in his day, having significant contributions to several teams during his career. Now a prominent sports analyst for ESPN, but also a philanthropist who has been involved in various projects in order to help his community grow, Jalen Rose is a highly respected figure. He is a big fan of Nikola's game and is one of the rare analysts who thinks that the Joker deserves an MVP three-peat. You can't ignore what the Joker's doing. Bill Russell and Larry Bird are the only people to win the MVP 3 times in a row. And so, what ends up happening is it becomes an award about storyline. It becomes an award about a perception of doing the most with the least and/or having a historic year to go with your numbers. And so after he's won it twice, it's like, all right, we should be trying to give it to somebody else. Right now, Denver's #1 in the West. Historic stats. This dude about to average a triple-double. As a center, that's just mind-blowing. It has to be the Joker. He getting 25, 12, and 10 assists on a nightly basis, shooting 60% and like 40% from 3. One of the most lethal shooters in NBA history, Redick is now an analyst for ESPN. A highly intelligent guy who often gets criticized for his love for analytics, Redick is a real student of the game. Being known as the guy who loves to use a lot of numbers in his arguments, it is to no one's surprise that Redick is a Nikola Jokic fan. I mean, this is a guy who, over the course of his playoff career, has averaged 25, 10, and 6. Last year against Golden State, a top 2 defense, he averaged 31, 13, and 6 on 57% shooting from the field. It's not what he does in the playoffs. Let's just acknowledge, Jokic has yet to have an all-star teammate, and certainly he has talented teammates. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Aaron Gordon is having a fantastic season. But some of this is on his teammates. That's the nature of our sport. He's simultaneously making his teammates better. There's a number of ways we can measure that. He's making them better, but what's their ceiling? Does he have a real Robin? Julius Erving is one of the original NBA stars, who is most likely to be your favorite player's favorite player. Julius Erving's most successful period in terms of team success was while he was on the 76 ER squad and won the 1983 NBA championship. Known as a 76 ER's legend and even appearing in commercials together with Joel Embiid, you would think that Dr. J would be biased when it comes to the MVP race between the Joker and Embiid. Well, even he couldn't argue against Jokic's case. I'm hopeful that Embiid wins it. He does talk about it, and it's something that is one of those carrots out there that he's reaching for, but I think the most deserving guy is Jokic. He hasn't missed any games. Night in and night out, he's won better than he did last year. He was MVP last year. When you get better, I don't think you lose status. Not if it's a fair fight. I'm going to pull for Embiid because he's my guy. And Antetokounmpo, who knows how he's going to finish up? But both Embiid and Antetokounmpo have missed several weeks of play. Jokic has been out there every night. One of the best point guards of all time, the leader of the Bad Boy Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, is a huge fan of Nikola Jokic. Back in his day, Zeke was one of the shiftiest guards in the league, but also a fierce competitor, doing everything in his power to help his team win. You probably know about his 1988 Finals performance, right? His fundamentals are flawless. Not only are his fundamentals flawless, his fundamentals with his intellect are flawless. We saw a play at the end of the game where he set the up screen on a high screen and rolled. And then he rolled behind the guard so he can catch it in the pocket and get a shot. Most big fellas, they set the screen and they roll to the basket. What he was able to do fundamentally is not only roll behind, but then he rolled right into the perfect pocket spot. What this guy is doing fundamentally, you got to watch and you got to take notice of it. He's playing at a superior knowledge base right now than most players he's playing against. A huge compliment from one great basketball mind to another. Luka is another phenomenal player that comes out of the Balkan. Luka and Nikola are both amazing offensive players, with basically no weaknesses in their offensive game. A product of the Yugoslavia basketball system. Coming from basically the same culture, their friendship came like second nature to them. As we all know, the two are great friends and have tons of respect for one another. We have probably heard about all the praise Luka has given to the Joker, so this time we will switch it up a bit with a funny story Luka shared on the Redick podcast. When Redick asked Luka if he thought European stars were low-maintenance guys compared to the Americans, I mean, if we talk about each star individually, you know Nikola, he is just a different guy. He loves his horses. I tried to convince him to go on Instagram and he just said, no way, no chance. I don't know if Europeans are more low-maintenance stars than Americans. I know that with all this social media, like Instagram or TikTok, you can make a lot of money. And Nikola doesn't care about that. He just loves his horses. The Joker has his priorities set, that's for sure. Draymond Green is one of the most vocal guys in the NBA. As a vocal guy, Green remains careful as to how he says the things he says, really appreciates the Joker, and didn't want to be misunderstood about the comment he left about Jokic defense. I think all of us love the Joker offensively, but if they are ever going to win anything, he has to do better defensively. Right here, Patrick Beverley is going to beat Torrey Craig from behind the half-court line, and this right here is a simple rotation that requires little effort. Stop the ball. Here's another instance where he doesn't do his rotation. If they are going to win, he has to do better. You have got to have an impact on this side of the game as well, if you are trying to win anything significant, and he has not done that. Criticism like this is often good for players as they see that they are not clowned for their liabilities. Instead, knowledgeable information is being told about it. If they are not egocentric, they will accept the criticism and get better. And Jokic did just that, and even told Green that he appreciates his comments and really needed them. Antetokounmpo is one of the few players that can dominate the game as much as Jokic does. While the two have completely different playing styles, as Antetokounmpo is a physically overpowering monster, and Jokic's game is based more on his passing ability and soft touch, like all greats should, the two have tons of respect for each other. Antetokounmpo is a funny guy, but when it comes to basketball, he doesn't take it lightly. He's one of those guys that is having a great season, and he only goes about basketball. He takes care of business. He only cares about basketball. I'm the same way. I love that about people like that. Kevin Durant is one of the most versatile players in the history of the league. A 7-footer who can break you off the dribble, shoot from deep, and also defend the opposing guards as well as big men. Even a player like KD knows that Jokic is something unseen before, struggling to put into words all that the big man brings to the table for the Nuggets. I look to him as more as I wouldn't say a point. Well, yeah, I guess. He can bring the ball up the court, he can orchestrate the offense, play in the post. So, yeah, there's basically no limit or ceiling you can put on him. When you put labels on guys, you take away from them a little bit. You can call him a guard 1 second, call him a center the next. LeBron James is obviously one of the greatest players of all time. The King is the all-time leader in total points in a career, but you can argue that his greatest asset throughout his career has been the ability to see the open man and deliver the ball just where it needs to be. You can say the same thing about the Joker, and if you don't feel like it, LeBron will say it for you. The guy has an unbelievable talent to see the floor and see the plays before they happen. You could go look back at Sabonis and things he was doing with his passing ability. If you go and look at his national games or him being back home before he got to the league, he is probably doing the same doing. The pass is just a rewarding thing. Not for yourself, but for your teammates. Everyone feels involved. And when you are the best player on the team and guys still feel like they are just as important as the best player on the team because he's sharing the ball, he wants the ball moved side to side and loves to see success of his teammates, it just makes it so much easier for your teammates to play with you. No small fee coming from the King's mouth, but very much deserved praise for the Nuggets big man. The Phoenix Suns got the best of Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets in the 2021 playoffs, beating them in a sweep in the Western Conference semifinals. Being down in Game 4, the Joker got frustrated after a miss, and he released his frustration with a hard foul on Cameron Payne. Things escalated as the Suns jumped him, leading to a heated conversation between Devin Booker and Nikola Jokic. Jokic was ejected, and Denver lost the series. After the game, Booker was asked about the confrontation with Jokic, to which he said, "I think it was just an emotional play, and all I said was just that was a dirty play. I didn't like that, and I have got to stand up for my guy. I don't think he meant harm by it after, just a frustration foul. But you know, I am just defending my teammate. I played against the Joker a lot of time. I know him. I know that he is not a malicious player. He got frustrated. It happens even to the best of us." A couple of years later, Jokic Nuggets are playing against Devin Booker and the Suns yet again. But this time, Jokic and his squad got the first 2 laughs. After Game 2, and the series being 2-0 in Denver's favor, Booker told his teammates not to lose their confidence because this is what the playoffs are about. "I love it. I just love playoff basketball. That's the first thing I said when I got to the locker room. You just have to love this Shasterisk T. Embrace it. There's not many people that get the chance to do what we are doing. This is also what great players do. This is even more important than them liking and saying nice words to each other. When an opposing player's success pushes you to get better, you know you are on the right track. Stephen Curry has one of the deadliest offensive skills in league history. So much so, that Nikola Jokic considers him to be the most impressive player in the league. The respect comes both ways though, as Steph is a huge fan of the Joker as well. I mean, he is tough, puts pressure on you for the whole game, and you have got to respect his ability to shoot from outside as well. He puts pressure by posting up, driving in the paint, but he also knocked down 3 3s tonight. He is obviously an amazing playmaker, so you can't let players get in motion around him. Everybody has to be alert on defense, taking away the passing angles and lanes, because he sees the court so well. Even just the offensive rebounds, those tip-ins. He just plays so well around the rim, knows how to move, and he just knows how to get around it and finish. So he has basically got a full package, and when guys are hitting shots around him, it just makes it super tough to defend him. He is obviously the MVP for a reason, and he is arguably playing as good right now as he did last year. Well, I don't know how to hype him up even more. One player that is possibly the most jealous of Jokic's success is the big man Joel Embiid. The two big men have been in MVP conversations for the last 3 years, and Jokic has beaten Embiid to it twice. Embiid has been playing amazing himself, but still has not gotten over the disappointment of the past seasons, always grumbling about the ways the criteria for the MVP award changes from year to year, indirectly taking shots at Jokic. The criteria does change. If we want to talk about the last 3 years since I have been in the running for it, the first year it was that I didn't play enough games. Last year I came back, played enough games, I led the league in scoring, and obviously Nikola deserved it more, and he won it. But then again, he won it as a 6th seed in the West. And then this year I am leading the league in scoring again. I am doing all of these things defensively. I should be making an all-defensive team too. I don't care, but every year it's something. And when you add analytics into it, which don't make sense. You can talk about analytics all you want. When you got some guys in the league, the eye test tells you that they're not good defensively, but analytics tell you they're the best defenders. That's when analytics don't make sense at all. I don't make the rules, I don't choose whatever criteria that they use, so it's really about whatever people's preferences are. As the 2023 NBA MVP award now belonged to Embiid, let's hope he will start appreciating the Joker's game. Who knows, maybe he'll learn a trick or two. Paul George is one of the league's most versatile defenders, and obviously this makes him relevant enough to talk about how difficult the Joker is to contain on offense. Man, he is just like, it's crazy because he is not by any means the most athletic guy on the floor, but he just knows his game. I think he is a player that just knows who he is on the court. If you put a small guy on him, he punishes them in the paint. If you put somebody who is his size, he uses his smarts and wits. Just a very difficult player to defend. Donovan Mitchell is one of the most electrifying players in the league. The 6'3" combo guard has used the most of his top-tier athletic ability to score over defenders in the paint, and over the years, he has become a better three-point shooter, spreading his game even further outside the paint, leading to a career year for him that he finished averaging 28.3 points. Even in a career season, Donovan knows that Jokic is the main guy. I don't know if you have all been watching what Jokic's been doing. It's outrageous, to be honest. I don't know how many players have won it 3 times in a row, but he's otherworldly right now. Short and straight to the point. I mean, isn't that what we all think about Jokic? In the end, all the NBA legends and players absolutely love Nikola Jokic and think he's a one-of-a-kind player in the league. They can't get enough of his incredible vision on the court, amazing skills, and how down-to-earth he is. They're just blown away by how he's changing the game. Without a doubt, Jokic has left his mark on basketball history, and everyone respects and admires him for it.